I'm Haze Hartwig. This is Bamboo, Vancouver's property management and investment podcast. Welcome to the podcast. So today what we're going to be talking about is technology for being a landlord. There have been quite a few developments in that through it, and we're going to cover 4 items in particular that are of use for most landlords. A lot of it has been around for a while, but a lot of landlords just haven't picked it up and maybe just didn't think to add this. So hopefully one of the 4 items that we're going to cover today will be of use to you, and you may find this interesting at least. So without further ado, let's get on to our 4 pieces of tech for your tech stack for being a landlord. The first one is to use Wufoo for your applications. A lot of landlords do use applications these days because you're meeting someone for the first time for 15 minutes and then thinking to just go rent out the place, which is a little bit nuts if you think about it. So what you may want to consider is using Wufoo, which is an online form that you can use as basically a questionnaire to help to get to know your possible tenants a little bit better. The benefit of this is that you can learn a little bit more about them, builds out another gate, so it sort of feels more like they're applying and want the place as opposed to just hoping and going through like that. The benefit as well with the Wufoo form is that everything is clear and it will email it straight to you so you can take a look. That being said, with the form, after you're finished using it, delete it. The reason for this is because you want to protect everyone's privacy. You never know, some hacker could get in there, somebody could get into your email, and then you've just given away someone else's information, which is obviously no good. So do consider using a Wufoo form for your application. I am assuming that as a landlord, you are taking applications as opposed to just firing from the hip and renting out your investment. So do consider that. The next one is using professional photos. Using professional photos is a great way to put the best foot forward for your place. The best time to get this done is when the place is empty, after you've done a renovation or at least had it like professionally cleaned there. That way your place is looking tip-top and you can make sure that the photos are the best that they're going to look. The nice part about this is that generally professional photos are about $300 or so, and you just can reuse them. So each time your tenant leaves, just reuse the same photos, providing that the place still looks the same. Obviously, if you go and paint your walls a different color, you're going to need some new photos. So that's definitely one of the things you can check out. A lot of these companies as well do virtual tours. Now, virtual tours started to get a little bit more popular during 2020 when COVID was around and people weren't so prone to go and seeing each other face to face. So that really started an uptick for virtual tours. Some of the companies that are out there use ones such as Matterport, which is basically like Google Earth, but inside your unit. And what this does is just lets people walk around their unit digitally so that they can kind of get a feel for it. And it does help as well because it sort of builds an extra gate for those who are looking around, because after that, the process is that they're there and they're starting to mentally move in themselves. So it's a great way to sort of add an extra gate, because if you think about the process, this person is now clicked on your ad, read your write-up, looked through all the pictures, and then digitally walked through the place, and now they're contacting you to come take a look at it in person. This is definitely a person who is more serious about taking a look at your place as opposed to just some random tire kicker walked by at your open house and just wanted to go see it. So take a look at using professional photos. Looking at doing a virtual tour with the companies that do the professional photos, because they're usually one and the same. So that's quite a nice feature to have. They also offer, in most cases, a floor plan, which is great for people's planning. They want to know what the size of the room is, give or take, and that way they can kind of figure out whether the couch they currently have will fit inside the new unit that they're about to move into. Now, if you don't feel like going the route of having a Matterport being done for you and hosted, another method that you can use is to take a video and walk around your unit so that there's at least a real world look at the unit itself. One of the things you're going to want to take into account, though, is that you want to move a little bit slower, simply for the fact that you'll end up with a bit of a shaky cam. It can be quite disorientating and make people dizzy, basically. So when you're going to shoot your video, do walk a little bit slower than you normally would around your unit so that you can take a look at the up and down and generally have a nice flow for your video. An addition that you might want to consider is purchasing a gimbal. What a gimbal is, for those that don't know, is an attachment that you can use on your phone, and it will keep this view steady. And so that way, when you're looking around up and down and turning, it'll keep it nice and smooth looking. So again, the viewer will be less dizzy and will be able to focus more on what your unit looks like. The next thing that I'm going to cover is digital move-in reports. These are a couple of apps that have come out as of late. Namely, the two in particular that are top of mind is Happy Inspector and Snap Inspect. And what this does is the photos that you're taking for your move-in report, it will add them directly to the PDF so that you have one nice clean document with all your notes and all your photos all in one spot. You can also, most cases, sign these. So that way it's signed by you, it's signed by your tenant, it's sent off right away with a timestamp. And so that way everything's nice and tidy and clean and in one spot. So do take a look at possibly using the digital move-in reports, because they are definitely something of use that can be helpful in the future should you ever have to reproduce any of the reports, such as going to the RTB, etc. And speaking of getting everything into one spot, these have been around for quite some time, but you may want to consider adding all of your stuff to a third-party cloud service for storing all your files, such as Dropbox or Google Drive. There's numerous other ones out there, but those are the two main ones. The main reason why you want to consider putting all of these into the same drive is so that they're there in case anything happens to your computer. If you're on a desktop, it can just break down, or a flood or fire. If you're on a laptop, it can get stolen, dropped, broken, etc. So you just want to make sure that you have everything backed up in a nice, safe spot so that if you need to go back to it, you know that it's always there and you know that it's always safe. The other benefit with it being on the third-party cloud storage is that you will be able to access that globally. So if you happen to be away on vacation and you need to know when your tenancy ends, or perhaps the tenant lost their tenancy and they need to know when it ends in case they're thinking about putting in notice, this way you can just pull it out, send it over, and it's all done no matter where you are on the planet. So I hope that you found any of these 4 items of use to you, and hopefully this will help you be a better, more comfortable landlord and will make everyone's life easier. Thanks for joining us. If you found anything useful, please be sure to subscribe. We'll be back in 2 weeks to cover the stats, as well as any of the goings-ons for property management in Vancouver. My name's Haze Hartwig. This has been Bamboo, Vancouver's property management and investment podcast.